This is my driver, 9 degree, now set on +1, so 10 degrees. But that's not where this started. And after all my lessons with Anders Manker, I'm feeling insanely confident, especially with driver. In fact, to be fair, throughout the entirety of my game. But I needed to make one change, which surprised me, lofting my driver up. Let me explain. Because honestly, I don't think you're ready for this. I've got the best ball speed I've ever got. I've got the best carry, the best distance, and most importantly, the most consistency I have ever had. With every story, there has to be a bit of a but. I want to see what that distance is actually computing to out here. So we're going to see how far it's going on my new setting versus the original settings I was fit for only 2.5 months ago. That's a short space of time. An insanely short space of time. First, let me just show you how I was setting up the driver and how I am now. First thing, I've started using this tee height when I was using this tee height. That's the difference. My old setup looks something like this. Ball right inside and on that left heel, really far forward, very wide stance, and getting very behind it. Because simply I had this idea that I wanted to hit up on it massively. I needed to launch it. And I think that's possibly one of the reasons why I was originally fit for a 9 degree driver. And from here, I was seeing that left miss, that right miss, and a significant loss in power. I'm going to leave that ball teed up there, and I'm going to now show you where my ball position is now and that height. Because I'll say this to you right now, if you slice it, I think this could be a really exciting thing that I'm about to show you. I also want to explain the fact that driver loft plays a huge impact on launch and then therefore carry distance. And this is now how high I'm teeing it and how far more back in my stance. Me and Anders said it's roughly around 3 inches. Now, the reason for this was, before, I was hanging back. The idea that I've got now in my swing, and I want you to listen to this. I've always been told that irons and driver swing is different. Anders said to me, no, Alex, it's completely the same. And the idea that I have now is that I'm really trying to get here, my hands on my left thigh at impact. So almost feeling like I've got a little bit of shaft lean. That's never gonna happen because the ball is further forward than an iron in my stance. But honestly, the launch was crazy. And it was low to start with my driver set at 9 degrees. Hence, why I've lofted it up to 10 degrees.
So we're going to look at the driver here. Now, traditionally, you've always heard ball positions really forward with a driver, lean back off it a little bit, get your sternum back here and hit right up on the ball. That's been the message driver-wise. A little bit different now. The modern equipment launches the ball very, very high automatically. It spins quite low. So those parameters don't really apply anymore. Whereas your top tour pros nowadays hit between 1 and 1.5 degrees down on a driver, which might surprise people.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say like a lot of people looking at this going right now, oh, bloody hell, I've been doing so many drills trying to hit up on the golf ball. Well, actually that could be the reason why you're hitting it pretty bad.
Yeah, could be. Now, for some club golfers, hitting up on it's still going to be a valid reason, but I think most do that to excess, to be honest. I think if the majority of club golfers aim to hit the driver at low point, I think a lot would improve from that.
Okay.
I think this misconception of ball miles forward, sternum back, is only going to drop the low point back here, and you're either drop kicking it or topping it. So I think moving it more or less at the low point's the way forward.
Okay.
I want to show the effect of having the low point too early.
Yeah.
A lot of club golfers will say, I'm brilliant with my 8-iron.
Yeah.
But I sliced my driver.
Yeah.
I must have a different swing. It's not. It's the same. They're using the same swing. It's just the impact point is a lot later.
Yeah.
So of course on the driver, which I'll show you in a second with the hoop, the effect. But the longer, further back the low point goes, Alex, the more likely a club golfer is to slice it. So if I can just borrow that. This is a very, very interesting concept. And I think once people get their heads around this, I think there'll be a light bulb moment for a lot of people when it comes to driver. So if we said, for argument's sake, that this is the middle of the stance here, there's the low point. At that point, the club is travelling straight. if that same golf swing was hitting a driver, which is pegged up here, can you see the direction the club's taking at that point?
Yeah.
Same swing, no change in swing at all, but at that point, how far left is that going, Alex?
Well,
miles.
30, 40, 50 yards, 60 yards?
That is a huge slice.
So if we look at this from down the line here, that's a really important point. Like, so we're saying if the ball's here, look how we're now, or even just one that's teed up, look how far left that is.
So where the ball is, this one, the club, this could be somebody's 8-iron that they're hitting really lovely straight, but their driver impact is there, which is now a massive slice.
Yeah.
The assumption will be, my driver swing's worse than my iron swing.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's the same.
Yeah.
But there's one very, very important concept here, and that is if you are going to hit the ball on the up with your driver, you would need to move your swing plane to there to hit it straight.
So you'd have to be a lot more, what people would classify as a lot more into out.
Absolutely, massively so. So if, on the other hand, if we said that this is a neutral swing path, Alex, and now I move this low point closer and closer and closer.
So less on the up for people.
Less on the up. What's it doing for my path?
Well, it's making it straighter and straighter and straighter.
Of course it is. I haven't changed the path yet at all. Now, I've got a straight path and a good chance of hitting it straight, but I'm at the low point.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
So it's almost like people getting their low point even further and further and further back is making their path go further and further and further.
The further back this low point goes,
and the more and more they've got to swing from the inside.
Correct. They would have to an extreme case, you'd have to get to that point. If you want to hit it up,
which for a lot of people is not
physically nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So to me, there are so many advantages for a club golfer to actually move this ball back slightly, not forward. Don't lean back. Don't try and hit it loads on the up.
Okay.
There are far more advantages to hitting this ball on a straight path.
So having the ball close towards the middle of their stance.
Nearer to the, slightly nearer the middle. Because
not the middle, but
we want to catch it at roughly low point. An interesting impact position here. Again, driver versus iron. Because I think historically, we kind of look at those impact positions as totally different. You know, an iron, we've talked about it before, we get the hands forward, we compress it, we really try and hit it low. With the driver, the hand position is much more level, really.
Yeah.
Whether you want it to your ball position here or if you do prefer it forward, the hand position is fairly level. If you take a wedge here, where my impact position would be similar to that, sternum in front, hands well forward, and then I take my driver, which would be kind of like this, Alex. My sternum's behind that ball now.
Yeah, but you're in the same body position.
If you actually look at those two, they're the same. Do you see that?
So people thinking I've got to work on my driver swing, work on my iron swing, it's just it's a false economy, really.
Well, it is, because they're both returning in the same point.
So let's square this away. That was before. This is now after. That is my driver set up now. And honestly, it feels like it's on my back foot, but it's not. Before, after. Ankles and armpits, narrower stance, ball 3 inches inside my left heel. Doesn't Anders just make everything make sense, right? So hopefully that gives you a bit more clarity that you can have the same swing thoughts with your irons and driver. It's just the ball position which gives you the difference in outcome in terms of angle of attack. Also, with modern day drivers, you don't need to hit up on them anywhere near as much as we first thought. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is let's put it back to the original setting and hit 4 away. And so we can distinguish between which balls which down the fairway, we will be hitting white balls with the old setting, and my current new setting, we will be hitting some bright lime green ones. Where's neutral? Neutral, standard. Also, I don't want you to be scared about playing around with your loft setting. There could be the missing bit to your driver game for 2025. And I think this was my missing bit, which is why I was saying excited about open qualifying this year. Start of the year, I was a little nervous because I told you while I was doing it. And now, I'm excited. Ball sorted. Original driver height, new driver height +1, 9 degrees, 10 degrees. And on that note, I've been using Vice now for the last 2 years, and I'm insanely happy with this golf ball. I'm using the Pro Plus. I used the ball fitting tool on their website just to work out what ball was best for me, and that's something that I want to make sure is right heading into one of the biggest tournaments of my life. And yeah, the Vice Pro Plus, and I'm really enjoying this lime green colour just because I feel like it sticks out a little more on the ground, which is a really nice thing. So yeah, for 2025, I would definitely recommend using the ball fitting tool on Vice Golf to work out what's the best golf ball for you. And then you've got all the questions answered to get more distance, better control around the greens, and just a ball that's really genuinely suited to your game. So I'm setting up to this in my new setup because my new setup and my new swing, as described by Anders, prompted me to add 1 degree. Right. Here we go. Seriously low, right? That's because I'm not trying to hit up on it. I'm just trying to hit it like the same swing thoughts I had with my irons. And the ball flight is low. Now, great for links, not great for overall. Let's just dive through some of these numbers quickly. We had an average of a 226 carry, ball speed average of 159, which is fast for me, fast. Club head speed average of 107.8, total distance of 260. This is the key bit. The launch angle of 6.1. Low. Low, 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 low. Now, yes, if you look at my driver now, I'm hitting down on it roughly about 1.5 degrees. But that's what I found the best for my game, and that's around what tour averages. And I want you to think about this a little bit like a plane. If a plane takes off, let's just say with 160 miles an hour ball speed, our plane being our ball, and it takes off at 6 degrees, it doesn't have much of a launch angle to stay in the air for a long time, even if the spin rate is very good. Equally, if I was launching it too high, go in the air too much and just go too much up and not enough forwards. But there is that sweet spot where you get it to launch, for me, around 10, 11 degrees, and stay in that air a whole damn sight longer. So my point being is, you could have a great strike, but it launches too low, so it never has an opportunity to stay in the air. Equally, right now, you could be launching it far too high, so it's just going too up. Maybe worth knocking it down a little bit to find that sweet spot. My knees are hurting. Let's hit these 4 away. 9 degree, now set on +1. Look at the difference in that launch. Oh, baby. It's just in the air so much longer. So much longer. I need to show you this. This is why I'm feeling excited about my game. And I think I've got better than this, but that carried there 244 yards. Look at the screen, how much further that dot is compared to the blue. That white dot compared to the blue. A 109 clubhead speed, 160 ball speed, again, very, very similar to what I was getting with the 9 degree driver. So it's nothing to do with that. I'm not hitting it harder. Look at the launch, 8.7, 8.7. And that's a 281 total. That's game changing for me. That is game changing. Can you see why I wanted to show you how important loft is? And also another message here, driver and iron swing thoughts, make them the same. Here we go, ball 2. I can just stand here with confidence. Do you know what? It's sort of like a snowball effect in a good way. Usually it's a wrong way in golf. I now feel that it's going further. I don't have to hit it as hard. So smoother swings, giving me more distance. Look at that launch. How much longer is that in the air? Whew. I don't even think I'm swinging it my best today. There we go. Oh, that is the best of the bunch. Look at the difference in that. Look at the difference in the yellow and the blue. You can physically see how much, 1, tighter the dispersion is, but 2, it's further up. It's way further up. Let's start with ball speed. 160 versus 159, very, very similar. Smash factor, 1.48 on both, so I didn't strike one better than the other. Club head speed, 108.7 versus 107.8, so a mile an hour quicker, but I think that comes with confidence. Let's now go into launch angle. That big thing that is changing when I'm adding. Don't forget, you might need to take a little bit of loft off to hit it longer. But I warn you, you're looking to launch it around that sort of 10 degrees. Most driving ranges now will give you that launch angle. So you can sort of look 10, 11, am I around there? Then I think it's pretty good. Bear in mind, if you're a slower swing speed player, I'd want to see that sort of around the 13. Okay, so my launch angle with the 10 degree driver was 9.2 versus 6.1. Now in terms of apex, so the top of the ball's flight, my 9 degree was 43. My 10 degree was 87. Now in terms of brass tacks, what's that turning into in terms of distance? Total, 276 versus 260, 16 yards in total. So it's not even like the lower one's running out more. And this is the big one, 226 carry versus 240. 226 versus 240. I think I got better than that. I really do. That's 14 yards more in carry. And if you think this is 14 yards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And that's the best part of a club shorter into every single hole. And as Carl says, if you have a club shorter, you're more likely to hit the green. Hitting more greens is the quickest way to lower your scores. Thanks so much for watching. Check your driver loft. You've just got to.